Hey folks, I'm Marcel and you're watching The Pulse. This week, Dr. Brad Stanfield posted a video criticizing David Sinclair and calling him some choice names for his moves on resveratrol and NMN. Today I'm going to offer a more complete, in my view, multi-dimensional view of David Sinclair. And I'm reluctant to do this because nobody's more upset with Dr. Sinclair than I've been the last 18 months due to his moves to make NMN an exclusive drug, take it off the market. Whether or not he intended to do that or not, kind of beside the point. He's not stopping it either, and he's not making any public statements to stop it either. So I've been very upset with him. However, I think painting him as a snake oil salesman, because of the way he's talked about resveratrol and talked about NMN as positive things, is very one-dimensional. I want to paint a bigger picture, a more complete picture that I see when I look at the landscape, when I look at and think about Dr. Sinclair. So the things that Dr. Stanfield talked about are probably all factually correct, but it doesn't mean that it's right to just paint this one-dimensional picture of somebody and post it in the public to a supplement-taking community that might look at this and just doubt everything he said. Because he's said some things and done some things that are questionable doesn't mean everything's wrong. And I'll state some examples here. But first I want to kind of state the landscape that we're in right now and why any of us are even looking at dietary supplements as an option. We're in a moment in time when science is clashing with nature. We're at a crossroads. People are living longer, they're eating worse, and they're taking more drugs than ever. And I think it's a cycle that's caused people to age and be sick and age in a very poor manner. And it can be done much better. I don't believe in life extension. I don't believe that any of the natural molecules out there can necessarily extend your life beyond what's genetically possible. However, if you postpone getting a disease that could kill you earlier, that is kind of life extension as well. But I'm not saying, hey, this is a life extension weapon, right? I've never said any of these will extend life, but they can extend your healthy life. And you could, on an individual basis, live a bit longer and a bit better. My approach is to adopt a common sense approach. After listening to David Sinclair, he talked about a lot of things, and this was going back 5 years ago. At the time, he was talking a lot about common sense approaches to health and wellness. Nothing has been definitive. Not resveratrol, not NMN, not fisetin, not quercetin. There's nothing definitive saying that you take these natural ingredients that you're going to live longer. But there is a lot of promising evidence that backs up those types of claims. And then you have the anecdotal, like myself. I've been able to turn my health around, turn my life around, and prevent some of the diseases that were encroaching on me. These studies, these evidence, takes a long time. Vitamin D's been known about and been around for a long time, but it took 10 years to finally publish a study last year in Canada that showed vitamin D can help you prevent dementia. And what are they doing in Germany right now? They're trying to make it an exclusive drug. There is a debate going on, at least. The natural molecules that I take that we talk about exist in low amounts in food. At least looking at things from a common sense perspective, our metabolism worsens as we age. So we're not getting potentially enough of these natural molecules. That's the common sense approach to dietary supplementing. Now, the science community looks at people who want to take natural ingredients as health nuts. They'll call us health nuts. It's kind of a compliment, but it's kind of a left-handed compliment. The establishment in general, the food establishment, the medical establishment, frowns upon the nature lovers. And Sinclair has, maybe not so tactfully, played to both sides. His book, his statements, his appearances, he talks about eating healthy, eating natural foods, reducing sugar, reducing alcohol. Yet at the same time, he's made moves to make some of these natural ingredients exclusive pharmaceutical drugs. And so he's trying to play the game. He's sort of playing to his peanut gallery of scientists, trying to impress his buddies maybe. But then you have us kind of going, well, the common sense stuff makes sense to me and I'm going to try it. And then it ends up working. I was 55, now I'm 60 years old. The common sense approach ends up working. And then I become sort of a disciple of Sinclair's. But then he makes these moves, which we'll talk about in a moment. So some of the pro-Sinclair arguments would be a lot of people, probably over 1 million people, are experiencing positive results. Enough so that maybe they started taking NMN because of David Sinclair, but they keep taking NMN and other molecules because they feel something that works for them. I don't take these molecules because of Sinclair. I started taking them because he inspired me to look into them, but I take them now because I feel better taking them. And frankly, if a doctor says how I feel doesn't matter, I really don't want to see that doctor, because how I feel is not nothing. To me, it's pretty much everything. Now, he also has, Dr. Sinclair, a lot of support by a lot of scientists. I've spoken to them and interviewed them. Even one of the ones that doesn't like him said, NMN, the benefits are real. But he acknowledged that, NMN boosts NAD levels. And he went a step further and said NAD boosters can prevent cancer, by the way. Then Dr. Sinclair's lab had a blind mouse breakthrough, and I've not seen that disputed yet. He also gave one mouse NMN and another mouse no NMN at the same age, and one was running very fast in a treadmill. And people's desire to keep taking the molecules suggests something's going on here. What's not known is the mechanism involved, and that's where we need more science and more time. I would just encourage the science community to investigate the synergistic approach of how these molecules exist in nature, which are bunched together, not singly in a bottle one at a time. So people like me have adopted a natural ingredient protocol, taking supplements that have shown scientific promise in safe amounts, eating then healthy foods, improving exercise, and sleep. And the combination, many people have experienced disease prevention. So let's take a look at one of these molecules. Highly contentious molecule, resveratrol. Resveratrol has been shown to mimic caloric restriction. It doesn't offer life extension. It can mimic caloric restriction. That can help you prevent some diseases and heart disease. But in nature, these things are combined with other polyphenols. Longevinix, which was brought to market in 2004 by Bill Sardi, combined several molecules together: resveratrol, quercetin, fisetin, even vitamin D and vitamin B. Having said that, I'm not a fan of these multi-supplement capsules because you can't control the amounts of them. And as new information comes out, for example, vitamin K is said to go very well with vitamin D, or magnesium should be taken with vitamin D. You're kind of pigeonholed if you make one formula that doesn't include things that can synergize together. Although nature's model is multi-supplement. So if you're going to eat a piece of fruit or vegetable, it's going to have multiple supplements inside of it, synergizing together. It's just how it works in nature. But in the pill form, in the capsule form, in the micronized form, I think what experience shows us, and going back again to common sense, it's best to have some control over these things. God forbid one supplement does come back and doesn't agree with you, or is found to be semi-dangerous at the level you're taking it in the capsule. You can't adjust it if you're taking that fixed capsule. It's much easier to do. And then you could take a little bit more of one or a little bit less of another as you get to know your routine and how it's helping you. Now, the drug model, based on the rule of law, and I say that because the laws on the books are designed and applied to benefit pharmaceutical drugs. David Sinclair also had this right when he called this approach whack-a-mole medicine. But this is not disease prevention. This is disease management. Doctors prescribe drugs. They don't ask what you're eating. They don't say typically how much you're exercising. They may ask you if you smoke, like that's on the forms. But essentially, they want to prescribe you a drug. If you can't put it in a bottle, it doesn't fit the medical model. And this is where Dr. Sinclair and I diverge. He's been trying to put nature in a bottle and fit the drug model. NMN offers some benefits, therefore it must be a drug. When the truth is, in my view, it's a natural ingredient that should be taken together with food for disease prevention, not disease management. And that's a big divergence. That's a big, very big difference of opinion that we have. So where this all leaves us, and why I've had to focus so much of my effort and what I've been trying to do by raising awareness of these issues, the legal framework that we have to work with, at least in the United States, but this has ripple effects throughout the world, is Congress makes the laws, judges interpret the laws, because there are situations that require nuance in decision-making, such as are natural ingredients, trademarkable, or drug protectable. And this is where we need to probably at this point go talk to a judge and let him weed through the laws and establish a decision based on some nuance that exists here. The FDA creates and applies rules based on laws, but when the FDA oversteps, judges have to come into play. Or Congress can step in and say no. Or the Secretary of Health could say no, leave NMN on the market. But right now, the FDA has punted. They're paralyzed. They're in a limbo state with molecules like NAC, enforcement discretion, NMN, a de facto enforcement discretion. They haven't done anything in 18 months, since stating it doesn't meet the definition of a dietary supplement, which we strongly disagree with and have done so in the form of that citizen petition I've talked about. And then, of course, things like CBD. Why are they in a limbo state? Why are they sort of paralyzed by the legal system right now? It's really just bad timing. Since the pandemic, people just really don't trust the drug industry. Trust in the drug industry has never been so low. I saw one poll last year that said it was 38%. This is very, very low. And Congress at the moment is polarized. So FDA looking to Congress to sort this out right now. It's a difficult moment in time politically. Meanwhile, people are taking more dietary supplements than ever. So the more they ban, the more people take. So while I don't agree with what David Sinclair is doing with NMN, I don't think spreading hate towards him is a solution. What I think we need to do is take a stand and try to establish some new rules somehow within the framework of our legal system. Doctors need to be empowered to promote disease prevention as well as disease management. It should be an option. It should be available to them to try to help people prevent disease. I think we all have a right to this, and it's worth speaking up about. So the bickering, the name-calling, the one-dimensional criticisms of Dr. Sinclair, I don't think help us get there to where I'd like to see us go, which is focusing more on disease prevention. That's what the focus should be, and that's what I'm going to keep focusing on here. I'll see you soon.